Star Wars: The Force Awakens, Episode 7. I am finally reviewing this because I really wanted to watch this movie twice and let everything just sink in, soak everything in, and just, really feel confident regarding this review. And I have to say that Star Wars is amazing. It's pretty much what I wanted it to be. Going in, I was pretty sure that this wasn't going to be a perfect movie. I was just like, no, it can't be. And really, the original trilogy, episodes 4, 5, and 6, aren't perfect movies. They have flaws, but they're super fun. I think that the original trilogy, what it had was some awesome characters, an awesome story, really good effects for the time when George Lucas didn't decide to edit everything afterwards. And it just created this really crazy lore of this world that's really sci-fi fantasy that was just so... There's so much depth to it and so different for the time. But also the movie shared a lot of other old storytelling as well, which is homages, and that was kind of cool too. But I will say that as much as I love the original trilogy, they are still flawed. And this movie is the same, but it's super fun. I had so much fun with this movie. I want to go more times, and I know that I'm going to pick this up day one on Blu-ray and watch it a bunch of times after that, because it was just fun to watch a good Star Wars movie in theaters once again. I cannot stress that enough. And my goodness, the characters, the old cast. While some characters I wanted to see more of, I will say that the ones that you do see, and I'll specifically say Harrison Ford as Han Solo, my goodness. The guy is like, he was probably 72 when he filmed this. He's 73 now. And he is still freaking awesome. He felt exactly like Han Solo would when he's in his 70s. And he can still go. It's crazy, but like, he's shooting things up and he's just going around, he's punching people. There's the scene where he runs by and punches a guy, and it's so classic Harrison Ford punch, even though he's like 70 something. It was awesome. I totally enjoyed his character. His character didn't feel like it was just shoehorned in. It was, just a small cameo, and then, hey, here I am. Here's the new cast, and I'm out of here. No, he was a central part to this story, basically introducing us to the new characters and kind of helping them along to kind of introduce them to the Star Wars universe as well. Really, really awesome. That was a perfect way. He was the mentor. He was kind of like an Obi-Wan Kenobi. Or Qui-Gon Jinn, whatever you want to have it. He was awesome. Now, speaking of the new cast, I really thought that I wasn't going to like this new cast. I really didn't care for John Boyega. I think that's his name. In the trailers, he was always like, like breathing way too heavy. I'm like, oh, dude, you're overacting. However, the scenes that they show in the trailer, that's the only times that he seemed like he was overacting. Everything else, he was awesome. The humor that they made his character have was hilarious. I really enjoyed and dug his character. The humor overall in this movie was great, but his character specifically was just awesome. Harrison Ford too. He has some good dialogue with him. Poe is freaking awesome. Like, how can Oscar Isaac not be freaking awesome? Like, I knew he was going to be awesome, but his character is so optimistic, and just, if you're hanging out with him, you would just always be in like good moods, because he's just so positive. You just want to hang out with him and just, live through him. It was awesome, and he's really a really good, great pilot. He's like one of the best. So that was really cool to have his character do that. And then the new character, Rey, she was awesome. Not only is she an awesome actress, considering this is like one of her first movies, she's attractive as hell. That jawline is just something else. Jawlines are very important. I'm learning this now. Jawlines are important, and she has an amazing jawline. But really, her character, not only did she do a really good job acting, but her actual character was really interesting. She always wanted something more. She felt very much like Luke Skywalker in A New Hope. And this movie kind of, as a negative, a little bit, felt a lot like A New Hope. And there's certain scenes that are kind of just shoehorned in at the last act to kind of have something, and it's like, we've seen this before, and there's no real, it's just kind of there, and it's more of a force to be reckoned with, but at the same time, you don't really care either, just because it wasn't like the original trilogy. It wasn't really built up correctly. But other than that, the storyline, the first 2 acts are just fantastic. The third act is still really good. You just the thing that they kind of shoehorn in is just there. There's another few things as well in this movie that are kind of just there, and you're like, that's a little bit too much of a coincidence for that to be there, and it's just like that's moving along the plot a little bit too easily. And you think that's lazy writing, and to an extent it might be, but at the same time, I can kind of be okay with certain things being there because this is a world where the Force exists, where it can kind of attract people and things to a certain place to get people together because it's the Force. It makes sense. So I'm kind of okay with that. But it does feel a lot like New Hope, which, can't really be excused. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it's like, yeah, I've kind of seen a lot of this before. Now, some other negatives is the villains. The villains, to me, were the biggest problems in this movie. General Hux is horrible. He's boring as hell. It's partly because I don't like that actor, but I felt that he didn't feel like a Star Wars character. Whereas the new, Kylo Ren, the new Sith, is kind of, he felt at least like a villain and a Star Wars villain. The problem is that he's not going to be Darth Vader proportions. He's just not going to be. He felt very emo-like as well. And whenever he took off his hood and he was just walking around, I felt that he really felt just like a normal character that has this lightsaber and has really bad tantrums. Which actually, tantrums are actually kind of funny. And they make sense for his character. They are going in a different direction with Kylo Ren than they did Darth Vader or Darth Maul or, Darth Sidious. All these other characters that they've had. It's just that he's not intimidating. I don't see him as intimidating. And they had a few scenes where he's walking around without his hood. And the way they filmed it, he's walking like this. And I can't remember if they were going down or I think they were going upwards. And it didn't really work. It looked like he was a kid walking around, like, it goes well with his tantrums, because he's just like, I don't know. It's just, I didn't really care for. But those are the only negatives I have, is the villains. Other than that, even though it felt like A New Hope, it was still good. It was better than episode 1, 2, and 3 by far. Oh my god, light years ahead of episode 2. So, light years, I just see what I did there. Or saw what I did there. Anyway, I really enjoyed this movie. I cannot wait for episode 8. I think that if you enjoyed the original trilogy, you are definitely going to feel at home with this movie. The CGI is barely used. It's like when they have to, they do. Like for the starships and stuff, they use it. Other than that, all the locations were real, or so many of the locations were real. And then if the ships weren't moving, they were actually like built there, so you could actually see them. You could actually that the characters were touching them. That was awesome. That is what Star Wars needed to be. Thank you, J.J. Abrams. Thank you so much. This was an awesome Star Wars movie, and I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. It's not a perfect movie, but I loved the hell out of this. And I'm a very harsh critic. Like, I have 5 movies that got a 10. So, 8 out of 10 for me is pretty darn good. Anyway, thank you all for watching. You've been bearded in. Beardage.